Hey, Sean, you got any injury updates coming out of that game? And how's Quentin Lake doing also?
He's doing good. He's making really good progress, Greg. There's a possible optimism about this week, and then definitely next week, if not this week. But he's making really good progress, so we're encouraged with that. Higbee had a neck stinger. He'll be day to day, and then Puka with his AC sprain. Obviously came back, was nice and sore today. And other than that, we came out pretty good.
So it's an AC sprain for Puka then.
It is, yes.
Okay. I assume you'll know more later in the week.
Yeah, he'll be, he was you saw he was able to kind of gut through it and play really well once he even came back and made a handful of big time plays. So we might be smart with him early on in the week, but don't expect that to affect his ability to be ready to go with the great challenge this week.
Okay. Matthew Stafford hasn't been sacked in two games, hasn't really been hit more than a handful of times since the injury. Is that by design? Are you planning things and doing things specifically to keep him healthy and upright, or is this just a product of the offensive line playing better than it did last year and a bunch of other things?
It's always a goal. I think, the guys have done a great job of executing. I think Matthew's done a great job of distributing the ball, being able to change up a bunch of different phases of our pass game to get different guys involved for us to be efficient. So no, you always want to be able to keep your quarterback clean, Greg, pick and choose your spots. But I think it's real credit to Matthew and then ultimately the player's execution. And the offensive line deserves a ton of credit, but I also think it's a reflection of the entire unit. Matthew, those guys that are protecting the backs, tight ends, even receivers separating in the timing and rhythm. And so those are things that have been in alignment with good, efficient football. And that's what we always want to be able to do, and got to be able to build on that momentum because we're playing another outstanding defense this week where that's going to be a critical component to be efficient if you want to have a chance.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Adam.
Hey, Sean, I'm curious, what stood out when you watched the film on that 70-yard touchdown to Puka?
I think the ability to recognize the look that they gave us, the guy's ability to, for Matthew to be able to, get it communicated, get the protection straightened up, get the route combination like what we wanted, and then unbelievable throw that hit him perfectly in stride, great late hands by Puka, and then the juice to be able to finish. So football is the greatest team sport. It took all 11, but those two in particular, when you talk about Matthew and Puka, they were phenomenal there.
When you put together the two offensive performances that you have in the last 2 weeks, especially against the defense that you played yesterday, just where do you feel about the offense's confidence level going into, like you said, another big challenge?
Yeah, I think they're confident. I think they understand that you earn that confidence with the week of preparation. And it'll be no different this week. It's going to be an incredible challenge. And they've got great players, great coaches, great scheme. And so I know we'll be excited to dive into it, and our players will be excited about attacking another opportunity to, see if we can go play good football.
And Bobby Brown was just talking about how he's noticed Aaron Donald just seems to be enjoying the moment a little bit more this year, seems to be having fun with the young guys. I'm curious what your reaction was to seeing him skipping down the sidelines with Kobe yesterday, and if you've seen what Bobby's talking about.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, when he's having fun, that elevates other people. I think he's having fun because he respects and appreciates the way that his teammates and coaches are approaching the weeks too. He gets excited about the stuff Bobby's doing. He gets excited about the stuff Kobe Turner and, these other guys that he's playing around are doing. And so he's skipping, he's enjoying it. Guys are having fun, and I think they're creating their own energy, and that is a contagious thing. And I love the way that this team is, enjoying all parts of it. The prep, the meetings, the practices, and then ultimately, the last couple of weeks, it's been good to see those guys do their thing and be able to find ways to finish games. It's been a big theme for us, and I think those guys have done it. And Aaron and the guys up front certainly represented that yesterday. And I have a lot of fun too.
Thanks, Sean.
Sarah.
Hey, Sean, you've mentioned that Baltimore defense a couple times. When you turn on the tape of them, what stands out to you?
We're still in the early parts of it, Sarah, but I think it's, just outstanding mixture of variety schematically, outstanding personnel, really on all three levels of the defense. And so when you combine personnel, great scheme, ability to be able to, have depth when they do rotate, those are always the challenges. And you look at every single metric. I'm not a big stat person, but I think there are certain stats that are in alignment with helping, project how good you are, and they're at the upper echelon of the league, if not at the very top of the league, at all of the things that are really important when you talk about points, limiting the explosives, getting pressure on the quarterback and taking the football away. And so, I'll have a better answer once I really get a chance to dive into it. But the early inclination that I have is, they are exactly what, they're broadcasted to be, and that's one of the best.
Another one of those defenses that was at the top of the league was the Browns. Do you think it gives you some of your players maybe just more confident knowing that beat the Browns, played well against their defense, now going into another tough test?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, that confidence can compound, but I also think it's earned every single week, and every single week is a new week. But I do think it's important to be able to, continue to improve, continue to take steps in the right direction. I think that we've done that as a football team. I think the offense has done that really for the last, 10 quarters, you could say, or 9 quarters. And I have been really pleased. And I think those guys will have some good juice and excitement about attacking another good week and a great challenge, which is what you love about the NFL.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stu.
When you think back to when you guys were having conversations about acquiring Kevin Dotson, what do you remember from those as far as talking with maybe Wes, and in what ways has Kevin, met or even exceeded the expectations based on those evaluations?
Yeah. So, when you look at just especially a lot of the things that occurred last year and how important the depth of the offensive line and the, necessary, things that we needed to be mindful of in regards to what occurred last year, and to try to make sure that, we're getting our ducks in a row to not have that same thing happen. I thought Sean McVay, Wes, they did a great job of identifying a guy that had played a lot of football, a tough physical brand of football, could play on the left or the right side of the offensive line that, was potentially going to be available, and continue to monitor that. That was something that, we thought could come to fruition. And then it obviously did towards the latter part of training camp. He got in. I think Ryan Wendell, I think Zach Cromer, Nick Jones have done a really good job of getting him acclimated to our offensive system. And then ultimately, once he got his opportunity against the Colts, I think he's really taken it and run with it. He's played really well. I think I'd like to think that he enjoys it here. I know the guys love him. And he's a fun guy to be around. He's got a nice swag about himself, and he's done a really good job, and he's been a vital piece, of a lot of the good things that those guys have done up front. And I think he and Havenstein and he and Coleman Shelton have really developed a good rapport as it relates to in the run game and in protection, and that's been big time. But he's been awesome. He's played really well. I think he's played his best 2 games the last 2 weeks.
And then just what stood out to you on tape from the way Kyron Williams played the other day, if you had any different takeaways than you did immediately after the game?
He's just got such a spark and an energy. He loves competing. And I thought once he settled in, I thought he played his best as the game went on. They're obviously an excellent defense. I thought, the yards were limited early on, but he just kept staying with it. I thought he created a lot of stuff on his own early in the game. They did a really good job of limiting some of the other things as it relates to the screen game. But I thought he made his presence felt as the game unfolded, and I thought he was at his best in those situations where you're kind of in known running situations. I thought our guys blocked up front, but I thought he did a great job pressing the line of scrimmage, working edges. He got some things going in the perimeter game, and then ultimately some downhill direct runs where he was able to punch in his last touchdown. But, his run on 2nd down and 4 was all guts. I love the finish that he had right there. And then I also love the way that Coleman Shelton kind of, got out of the stack and ended up kind of capping off that play, kind of embodied what kind of day it was. And Kyron's a stud. Love the way he competes. Love the way he enjoys being out there with his guys. And he's like the Energizer Bunny.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Jordan.
Hey, Sean, just a quick clarification, if possible. Higbee obviously dealing with the neck stinger in the game. It was announced that he was being evaluated for concussion. So was he cleared from the concussion?
He was. Yeah, that was just from the medical advisor. Just wanted to check him out, but he will not be in that protocol. It was just because of one of the hits that he sustained, but he was good.
Okay, thank you. And then your third receiver spot has been rotating quite a bit over the last few weeks. We've heard a lot about how well Tutu Atwell has developed, and also how consistent and productive DeMarcus has been in practices, as well as, yesterday in the game. Can you expand a little bit on some of the factors that go into that spot and developing that spot in different complementary ways with a variety of different players?
Yeah, it's it's one of those deals that it's kind of a snap by snap case. Tutu's obviously done a really good job this year, and one of the things that doesn't go down on the stat sheet that I know you recognize, Jordan, he ended up having another explosive. It just didn't count as a catch for him, but it counted for the Rams offense advancing the ball plus 40 yards down the field. And so that was a big play. It was a great job by Matthew recognizing the look and being able to give him a chance, and he ultimately drew the flag. I thought DeMarcus did a great job. It was kind of one of those deals that he got hot, made a couple plays on the one drive, and it was important to be able to just kind of keep him in the flow of the game. So he got some more snaps than Tutu, but we want to be able to have both of those guys involved. And obviously Puka and Cooper are playing snaps. I thought Ben Skoranek did a nice job when he came in and played a handful of snaps. And when Puka was absent, or if he was subbing in there for Puka. And so it's an ever-evolving thing. As far as the snap counts, the targets, we want to try to get different guys involved, but there's different reasons that we would have, certain guys in certain spots. But yesterday, I thought you saw DeMarcus do a good job from that X-receiver position, making a lot of plays where you could feel his range, his target size, and just his overall ability to separate, and you can just see the playmaking ability where you kind of feel him is the best way that I can describe it. And I thought, it's like so important where you can really see he and Matthew are getting a good rapport with one another. And the more that you play with guys, whether that be Tutu, whether that be Puka, whether that's Cooper, or now you add Demarcus Robinson into the mix, that's been a good thing. And the more guys that can make plays and come down with big time targets and catches for us, I think the better our offense will be served. And I think Matthew's done an excellent job of spreading the ball around the last couple of weeks.
Thank you for the insight there. And then kind of random last question from me, but how do you guys decide who sits next to who in the locker room?
You know what? That's up to Brendan Berger. He does a great job. He's got such a good feel. I mean, sometimes it's a feel for mixing it up. Are you talking about at our facilities or at the actual locker room at SoFi?
In Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, it's more of, and ultimately I allow Brendan to have good, oversight on that. He's got such a good feel, Jordan, but I think it's important to be able to have a mixture where it's not, offense and defense are separate so much. So I think that natural interaction where you can just create those natural collision hours where getting a real appreciation for the team. So much of the days are broken up where it's offense, defense separate, and to just be able to create that natural interaction and appreciation for each other, not exclusive to just one side of the ball. That's kind of what goes into it. But Berg would be able to give you, better insight into the actual particulars. But it's why he's the man and why it's really cool to be able to have, people that have such great ownership and that I have such trust in to be able to kind of, take those roles and responsibilities and understand, the importance of those little things for the culture that we want to be able to create.
Thanks, Sean.
You're welcome.
Gary.
The old mute Gary.
I'm not. How have you seen Lamar Jackson kind of evolve through his years in the NFL?
He's always been a baller that has been an incredible playmaker, ability to extend plays with his athleticism, whether that be as a passer or a runner. But, I think they've made a concerted effort, and I think he's done a great job of, you're really watching him get through progressions, get a bunch of different guys involved, obviously losing Andrews against Cincinnati, but, you see a lot of playmakers. Zay Flowers, obviously Odell, been really impressed with Bateman and Aguilar. And then, Andrews was having another outstanding season until he got hurt against the Bengals. They've got, a bunch of different backs that they can rotate, but I just think the leadership, the playmaking ability, he's a winner. And I think you're really seeing him do a great job. I don't know if it is or isn't, but there's a lot more opportunities to evaluate him getting through progressions, staying in the pocket as a passer. I think he's done a phenomenal job of that. But that doesn't mean that there's still not that elite playmaking ability, both on or off schedule. And, he's as good as it gets. He's a great challenge. And it's why they've been so successful and why they've had such a great record. Coach Harbaugh, I know, and I have tremendous respect for, the culture and the way that they do things in Baltimore. And with Lamar leading the way, it's been a scary thing. And I think Coach Monken has done a great job of being able to bring out the best in Lamar and really add layers to his game where you can appreciate the totality of his resume and what he can present as a quarterback that's not exclusive to, what a phenomenal playmaker he is.
And having had the opportunity to coach Odell, and now I know, he's playing on offense, but to be going against him, what do you expect, to see from him?
A great challenge. I love Odell. I really enjoyed our time together. Still, stay in touch with him and always wish him the best, except for this week. But, wired to separate, can create after the catch. He's done a really good job. He's averaging over 15 yards a catch right now, and could see he played really well against Cincinnati a couple weeks ago on the Thursday night game. But we know what type of playmaking ability that he has, the catch radius, the ability to win versus, man coverage. And you certainly have to be aware of him. And they've got a lot of guys that, are reasons why they are one of the best offenses in the league.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I wrap up with you, Tim.
Hey, Coach. A lot of people didn't know what to expect out of you all this season. I'm wondering what were your kind of expectations for this roster, and then what does it mean for you to, at this point in the year, kind of be in control of your playoff destiny?
Yeah, I don't know if I ever looked at it like that, Tim. I know that a lot of people were asking questions, and there's the narratives out there that are all part of the job, and I get that, but I think it was about maximizing this group, really recommitting to a lot of the principles and values that we think are in alignment with not only good organizations, but good teams, and helping bring out the best in people. And I've been really proud of, this group and the growth that we've seen. And I think a lot of the best growth has occurred through some of the challenging moments that we've gone through. And I think we're playing, some good ball these last couple of weeks. We know we've got to be able to do it 1 week at a time, but you've seen guys get better. You've seen guys enjoy it. One of my favorite questions that I got today was the enjoyment that Bobby Brown's saying he's seeing from Aaron Donald. This game is meant to be enjoyed. Yes, we want to go have the production and the results, but let's enjoy everything. I think that's when you get the best out of people. And we're enjoying playing meaningful football in December. You got to continue to play at a good level for those to be relevant conversations. But I've really just, I think we just want to just keep getting better. It's not just the cliche about the process, but hey, let's keep developing. Let's keep building. Let's be mentally and physically tough. Let's be resilient to be able to respond to some setbacks, and just keep taking steps in the right direction to be able to positively pour in one another and try to get the most out of these guys. And I think our players, I think our coaches have done that. And, we want to keep pushing, and I'm having a lot of fun, going through these challenges with them. And what a great damn challenge we got this week against the Ravens.
Is this some of the most fun you think you've had in your time?
I think it is. I think a lot of the perspective that we've talked a little bit about, is just never forgetting, how important it is to try to be the person you want to be for the people that you love and care about. And also be reminded, man, you love this game. You love the opportunity to work with people you care about, and the competition of it. And it's not exclusive to just loving the wins. It's loving everything that comes with it, responding to the challenges. And, I know this, I am loving it because of the people that I'm around, and then some of the perspective that, the experience that you're accumulating, as a young guy has benefited both good and bad to keep learning and keep growing.